I said that because that's what I hear so often of doctor going, well, I showed them once. I showed them how to do that. Or I gave them the phone script and said, okay, you role play this at home.
No, you've got to be in that with them.
There's a time in your office, docs, that not only are you investing in what you're learning and you're doing for your patients and health, but you have double duty.
Yep.
And as an owner of a practice, you have to take that responsibility and say, okay, I've got new staff, so I'm having to double up, and I have to be creative and find the time to
you have
make
to make
sure.
the time. Yeah.
I worked years back ago with a doctor that was doing a new CA, and we have a phone regiment that we use, how we answer our phones. And that doctor, I was so impressed with him because he hired that staff, and they had an afternoon. They invested in training, and he did this phone script, and the young lady would say okay or and every time she did, they'd start over. Ring, ring, and she'd do it. And as soon as she'd say the word okay,
start from the
back
beginning
to the
again.
beginning, going ring, ring. But what really impressed me is by the time they got through with that, and it was several hours, those filler words were gone.
Yep.
But the neat thing is he was willing to do the same thing. So they twisted the role play, and he became the CA answering the call, and she was the patient. And if he messed up, they had to do it. So he really set a great example for her of this is what we do together. And he invested in it for himself. He had to be as good with it as she was. And she stayed with that office for a long time, and they had great success with that. So I encourage when chiropractors are looking at that is that invest that time.
It will be worth it in so many ways. Monetarily, it'll be worth it in the communication. It'll be worth it in the staff when you bring in another staff member. They're going to be able to share that same good investment you shared with them with that next person.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that goes into that next subject we were going to talk about is the phone and handling your phone and the new patients that's coming through, because that's your practice.
That first impression of your practice.
First impression, it does. And probably, what would you say, 98 to 99% of our new patients come to us through a
phone call.
Phone call.
They do in our office, even with advancements, of course, with text and online scheduling and those types of things. Most everybody, as a new patient or a first time going to any type of office or appointment, they typically call. Mm-hmm. And so we set that example right there on the phone. So that's always one of the first things that I encourage in the staff and in all of the staff members, even if they might not necessarily be, being funneled into that position of being the first person to answer the phone. Everyone should be able to answer the phone.
Mm-hmm. So. No matter where they are. If they're back office, I know I've worked with offices that say, oh, back office doesn't answer the phone. Well, you might not all the time.
But there's always a chance.
But you better always be.
Yes.
Because I'm sure in your office, when you have somebody that's had to be out, sick, health issues, family issues, something like that, somebody else in your office
has to fill that
has to step up and fill that position that day, even if they're doing double duties, running back and forth.
Yes.
So I guess that goes back to the very first one, is hiring the right people, putting that person in the right position, and then training them to do all those areas.
Correct. Invest in them and develop them. It's up to you. What you invest in them, you will get back out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jan. If the doctor isn't willing to invest into the staff, they're going to reap what they sow.